sure hearts were in mouths at the very end there, Scott. Right at the very death, it seemed like Hampton might have had a chance to level things up. We have come away with all 3 points here at the Beverley this afternoon. What did you make of the win?
Massive win. A really good professional performance, I thought. We obviously had to withstand pressure. Hampton are a really good side, and they make you work for any point or 3 points that you're going to get. They did have some good chances in the second half. But overall, I thought it was a game where on the counter at times in the first half we looked quite lively, looked quite bright. The third goal was absolutely massive. It was huge. That sort of changed the sort of dynamics of the game a little bit because it gave us a little bit more of a cushion. I was really disappointed to have conceded the penalty before we went in to the break, because 2 goals would have been a healthy advantage. But no, overall I'm really pleased with the result. The performance was probably what we expected in terms of not having as much of the ball. We didn't look to go and press the life out of Hampton, which is what we usually do against teams. We were a bit more organised behind the ball, let them have it in sort of wide areas and tried to sort of lock off the middle of the pitch. So overall, absolutely delighted with the result. I think they were 9 unbeaten before today. They're a really good footballing team, one that I admire from afar. So overall, great day.
Yeah, I think a lot of the fans, as well as myself, noticed that we looked quite fluid on the counter-attack. It seemed like something that had been clearly worked upon before the game. And also, how did Tarek Kadari's role sort of fit into that today?
Yeah, I think with 2 ball carriers playing left and right, with Harvey and Tarek, we asked them when they got the ball, can you carry it and get us up the pitch? We didn't maybe think we'd be able to do it in central areas. We knew it'd be congested. So they're 2 good athletes. Did they get as much joy as what we expected? Maybe not in terms of carrying the ball, but what they did do is get high up the pitch. Obviously, Harvey for the first goal has crossed it, and Tarek's got on the end of it. But we had a back 3. We had 2 in there in front of us that just sat and served and made us more solid, which allowed the wing backs to go really high and aggressive. So, no, I'm delighted with the result. The performance away from home was dogged. It was organised. We did give away a couple of chances, but obviously Ollie stepped in today and made some great saves. We've had to put our bodies on the line at the end. But yeah, listen, I don't really care, hook or by crook. Getting the 3 points today was something that we probably weren't aiming to do. We would have come here and been happy with a point, but to go away with 3 is a superb result.
I'm sure at the start of the season, if you were looking at names to potentially score a hat-trick, I don't think Tarek would have been at the very top of that list. He almost had his chance to do so, and was that potentially the only sort of criticism of his day?
Yeah, Tarek's probably his own worst enemy at times, in terms of he's probably a little bit disorganised when it comes to things off the pitch, but he's got so much potential. And that's the reason why we signed him. He's one of the best characters that we've got in the group. He's a really, really good lad. He's one that likes to make people laugh, and he's a joy to have around. And I think today will do him the world of good. He's in there, he's enjoying it, he's celebrating, and I'm delighted for him. So I think that's a start. I think he's going to improve. I think he's going to get better. He's still only 22, I think, so he's got time on his side. He's got a lot to learn, but really, really pleased with his performance today, and hopefully he can carry that into next week.
Another new face in the squad, albeit it was enforced from Adam's red card last weekend. What did we make of Ollie's performance this afternoon?
Yeah, I thought he made some fantastic saves. The 2 from the free kicks sort of stand out. There was a volley at the near post in the second half. There's nothing that he could have done about the penalty in terms of giving it away. We asked him to be aggressive and come off his line and cover that sort of gap in between us and him. And he's come to try and obviously win the ball, maybe a little bit too late. But he's not played football for a couple of months. The kicking up the hill was good. It's tough against the wind. You can feel it now. I can feel it against my back here. So, no, overall to come in and give that performance, I thought it was outstanding. And hopefully that will give him good confidence going into next week. Adam Dubois got an extra game ban for foul and abusive language when he went off the pitch last week. So it's something that we're going to have to deal with. Obviously, just suffer and miss out of him for another game. But listen, he'll learn from it. I think Ads has been brilliant for us. It's disappointing not to have him. But obviously Ollie's come in today and done himself no harm whatsoever.
Just before I ask you about obviously our weekly update on where players are at fitness-wise, and also looking forward to obviously the FA Cup next weekend, I think another name I really, really want to pick out this afternoon is Balu Makumbi, who I thought was absolutely excellent this afternoon.
He's another young lad that we think really highly of. I think we've got a really good group of youngsters, and that's not just the ones that are playing. There's ones that are sat on the bench that have got potential as well. So trying to fit them in, trying to shoehorn them into a side at the moment is difficult, it's tough. But Balu's opportunity has come. He played 25 games last year at Stepforth for Northwood. He had a bit of a hit and miss pre-season with injury. Played, obviously, was it 45 against Hornchurch? Come on at half-time, did he? And then, obviously, last week he'd done very well, and I thought today he was better than what he was last week. So it didn't feel like I had a 19-year-old alongside me. He looked really assured, and that'll do him the world of good yet again, playing on his weak side. But he goes and attacks things. He's honest. He's a good athlete, brilliant person, and that's just so important. He's willing to listen and learn. So, yeah, hopefully it's the start of something special for Balu, as it is for a lot of our youngsters. So we've blooded them in quite well in terms of the young lads this year, and they're doing extremely well at the moment. So long may that continue.
And just then, where are we at then with the few faces still getting back fit? I mean, we saw a few today. We saw Jared come on for a few moments, as well as Jordan Greenwich being on the bench. Where are we at?
Yeah, so they've obviously got through 15 minutes. Jared has maybe 10 minutes. I don't know what it was at the end. Jordan, we decided not to bring on late in the day. He's got a calf injury, which is a bit of a difficult one. It's a tricky one to come on when you're not warm, and ask him to sprint around for 5 minutes at the end. So Reece is hopefully getting an injection this week. Kiki's had a scan and it's just bone bruising, so hopefully that means it's going to be sooner rather than later. Tyrese trained on Thursday night, but we've got to be careful with that. We don't need it to be dislocating again. We won't rush people back. We'll have to sort of get through this period of time without them. Peter Rodgerman's still suspended, obviously Adam's suspended. I think that's it. So we're getting there. But like you say, it would be nice to have some back for next week. Whether we will or not, I'm not too sure at the moment. But yeah, listen, it's a great day all round. I think the support as well that we had today was phenomenal. You can see what it means to those guys at the end. Our away form's never been the best in the previous few years, but that 3 points today is absolutely huge, and I'm delighted for everyone.
I was going to ask you about the FA Cup game, but I did remember that we actually do have another match in between then, the Berks and Bucks Cup away at Binfield on Tuesday night.
Yeah, we'll be going strong. A lot of the EDS players that we were sort of planning on using played for Langley in that competition, so they're cup tied, so they can't play for us. So yeah, listen, we'll have a decent team out for that. I've let the club down in the last couple of years with the Berks and Bucks, is the truth. But probably not through any fault of my own. We've been having injuries or been through a bit of a dip in form at a time where we didn't want to risk people. We had Maidenhead last year, I think, before we played Hungerford. We had Maidenhead the week that we played Hungerford. We didn't want to risk injuries. But this year, I feel like we owe it to the club, the supporters, to maybe try and get as far as we can, and it would be nice to have a final at our place in the summer. And it's a target. Well, it's a cup that we can win. So we'll go out there, do our best to do that this season, as long as we've got a fit and healthy squad to choose from along the way.
Brilliant. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for your time, and we will see you on Tuesday then for that cup tie.
Cheers, Con. Thank you.